Hello, I'm delighted to be here talking to Limerick legend Eamonn Cregan, Limerick's longest serving player and of course pivotal figure in the 1973 success. Eamonn, how does it feel to be here 50 years later celebrating that wonderful year?
How does it feel? We're lucky to be here, you know. A lot of our friends have passed away and we're still here, and the vast bulk of the team is still here apart from four players that are missing, that have died.
No, it's great to see you all today, and a wonderful event lined up for you here today at the Strand Hotel. Casting your mind back to that year in '73, you were already playing for Limerick at 7 or 8 years at that stage, weren't you? So you had seen a few disappointing days before that year.
I came onto the Limerick team in October '64 and played first championship match in '65 against Waterford, and then we played '66. We beat Tipperary. But it goes back that far.
Yeah.
And I don't look that old, do I?
No, you don't. And you scored 3-5 against Tipperary that day, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct,
yeah.
Yes.
And of course, into the late 60s then, and then into the early 70s, that league win in '71 was a huge boost for that Limerick group, wasn't it?
It was. It was a fantastic win. We played Cork below in the Old Athletic Grounds. And all I can remember after the match, and Richie had scored the point, was that my wife my wife isn't interested in GAA as such, but she ran onto the field with the crowd behind her beside Dsy O'Malley. They were like lunatics coming across the field. Whoa. But it was such a tremendous occasion because we had met Tipperary 3 or 4 times prior to that, and they had beaten us in the Munster final, and we got the better of them that day.
Yeah, and I mean, Tipperary would still have had a lot of the big names from the great team of the 60s.
They would have had Roach, Babs Keating, a lot of those players were still
Francis
there,
Loughnane, people like that. Yeah. And looking back to '73 itself, I mean, 80-minute games for the finals. It was a tough old slog, I'd say. Was it in comparison to the half an hour? That extra 20 minutes must have been.
Well, when you're under an army-trained physical trainer.
Your brother, Michael
My
Cregan.
brother, Michael, yeah. You can't open your mouth. I never spoke to him. He never spoke to me.
Right.
We just obeyed what he was doing.
Okay.
But I think we were one of the fittest teams going into the All-Ireland final that year. And the amazing thing was, there were 2 things that happened. One, I got injured in the All-Ireland semi-final against London. And I didn't know what was wrong with me, but I was carted off. And I went out to John St. George, outside in the regional, and John was blind, but he was a blind physiotherapist.
Yeah.
And he looked at my feet, and he said, "Eamonn, I've never seen feet as bad as yours in all my life." And then I asked him, "What's wrong with me?" He wouldn't tell me. But what actually was wrong was that my cartilage had moved. And he was treating me for the 3 weeks prior to the All-Ireland final. And I owe it to him that I was even on the field.
Right.
But an unusual thing happened during the game. I arrived out late onto the field. I missed this famous roar and started as centre back, and I went for a ball after 10 minutes, and next thing I heard a crack. And instead of the cartridge causing me to go off, it went back into place.
Wow.
And I didn't have to get it fixed for 5 years after that. In 1978 I got it fixed. But I went into an All-Ireland final with a damaged cartilage, which I didn't know anything about.
So you were in the lap of the gods in terms of your...
Well, there was somebody up there looking after me. I'd say it was my father and mother.
Yeah.
know.
And of course, your dad was a member of that great team in the 30s.
Oh, he was,
with the Mackeys and the Clausies and all that group.
Yeah.
And I suppose they left a long legacy too, didn't you, that you had carried?
Yes, they did. Like, when you think back on our career, apart from '73, we were 45 years in the desert. Never. We were getting to finals, but we weren't winning them. We were getting to Munster finals, and we won 50% of them, but we never made it through. And now here we have a team that came along, and then suddenly in 5 years they've 4 All-Irelands got, which is marvellous.
Absolutely,
Marvellous.
It's great to see, and it's great that Limerick hurling finally is back where
Well,
we all believe it belongs to be.
We need to win today, though.
We need to win, of course you do. Speaking of today, I suppose in the sense, people talk today about versatility of players and fitness. You touched on it there. In relative terms, 50 years ago, that 1973 group, they were a mature group in the main, but very versatile. I mean, you had the likes of yourself moving from the forwards to midfield to centre back. You had Willie Moore moving from full forward to corner back. You had Ned Ray, probably the move this season was Ned Ray, moving from full back to full forward.
It's funny, Mary, Ned's wife is here now, and that particular move for Eamonn to go into full forward. And we were playing Waterford in a challenge match, and Jackie Power passed behind me. And I said, Jackie, we've found our full forward, because full forwards were different in those days.
Yeah.
They had to create space. Eamonn created chaos,
yeah.
but he was also able to hurl.
Yeah.
And he scored 2 points in the All-Ireland final that year. But he gave us the ability to win breaking balls.
He became a pivotal.
He was.
Yeah.
And he came down from Dublin with Jim O'Donnell twice a week.
Which in those days,
that was it was
no mean feat in those days.
No,
commuting wasn't the done thing, really, was it?
No.
And I suppose, famously, I think Eamonn was told before the Munster final to raise the dust around the goals in Thurles, and by golly, he did it that day, didn't he? To great
well,
effect.
he did, because like I scored 2 goals. I think Frankie scored. I don't know who else scored, but they were all watching Eamonn.
Yeah.
And I saw one photograph of them, that match, and there were 3 Tipperary backs marking Eamonn Ray on top of him.
Yeah.
And that meant that Frankie and I were
loads of space.
Loads of space
around.
Yeah.
Is there one particular memory from that year that really stands out in your mind, that gives you great joy even all these years now looking back?
Back over the years, or the All-Ireland final?
The All-Ireland final itself.
Yes. We were one of the fittest teams that ever went into Croke at that time. And our ability to actually get stronger as we went towards the 80 minutes worked. But Seamus Horgan made the save.
Yeah.
Where I think it was Mick Crotty came in with the ball, and he hand passed the ball, and Seamus just reacted.
Point blank.
No, that had been practiced outside in the Gaelic grounds. My brother Michael and Seamus had Seamus in goal, and he was hand passing the ball, and Seamus was just Hurley was just moving.
Yeah.
So the exact replica of it happened in the All-Ireland final, and he deflected the ball over the bar. That was another turning point in that All-Ireland final.
Yeah.
It was vital at that stage.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because in those days a hand pass shot was very hard to save. They nearly always went in.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So listen, Eamonn, thank you so much for talking. We really hope you have a great day today. Fingers crossed with the right result. I know in your heart of hearts you'll be a supporter today as much as anything else.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for all the wonderful service you've given to Limerick over the years, and many more years of life, happiness.